Hello and happy today's teach of you folks. I hope you guys are having just an absolutely amazing day today. Today's one of the best you've ever had in your entire life. So today on Monday I do reviews of older tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons or Middle-earth role-playing, that sort of thing, or tabletop war games like Battletech, that sort of thing too. So I've just recently finished up some of the recent stuff like the UK series, and then I did last week my top 10 beginner level modules for the first, second, and BECMI 2. So I thought we would get started, head back over to X series. I've done X1 and X2 for you folks, but I thought it would be fun for me to not, and X8 too randomly, but I thought it would be fun for me to knock out the rest of that series for you folks. Beloved and all up and out of the box. So this is X3, The Curse of Xanathon. Now I did start with BECMI, just as a heads up, as a reminder. In 5th grade, I was in regular class, but I was in gifted class, and so I often finished my work early, and there was the gifted person in my class too. And so the two of us would oftentimes sit down after we got done with our classes, to just let us hang out, and we would play Dungeons & Dragons in the back, in class. So that happened too. And then I would play BECMI. He was the dungeon master, I was the player. We would play In Search of Adventure. Then I moved to the 2nd edition, and then I moved to the 1st edition. So BECMI stands for stands for basic. It's all about the explorations, learning the games. It's for the first 3 levels, typically all about exploring dungeons and that sort of a thing too. And then the E, those modules begin with an X. Those are all about exploration. They go from level 4 to around 15, and that sort of the thing too. And this is in the X series, and like the first two that I already mentioned, X1, love it. It's my favorite module of all time. X2 is the classic too. The Castle Amber. We know X3, X4, and X5 are classics too. And I've already done X8 folks too. And then the C in BECMI stands for companion. And it's from the mid-teens to the 20s, mid-20s. It's all about sort of settling down and setting up a barony or duchy or a kingdom for you to rule, for armies for you to run as a general, right, and that sort of thing too. And then the Master 1, M is what the M stands for. It takes you from the mid-20s up to the mid-30s, up to level 36. It's all about exploring multiverse problems or trying to chase immortality and that sort of thing too. And kind of like demigods in the realm of my star, which is what this is set, or the I stands for immortal, which has those rules as after you've achieved it. Okay. So this was published in 1992. Together. It's not even called The Curse of Xanathon. It's just Curse of Xanathon. It's by Douglas Niles. It's for levels 5 to 7, and it's all of the art here, from cover art to interior art, is by Timothy Truman. So the basic plot here is a little more complex. So the players arrive at the Duchy of Runa's capital, and there's the recent duchy Duke there has been recently passing some laws which don't make sense, like riding horses backwards or paying taxes with beer, or dwarves having to shave their beards off and that sort of thing. And so now it's going to be an investigation as to what's happening there, too. Right, and the Duke Stephen here is definitely cursed. But trying how to find out who actually cursed him and what actually happens on is sort of the unpacking of this plot. It's a secret. However, it's in the title. The Curse of Xanathon, right? So try to keep it spoiler free. Is an envoy from another nation. And he's a cleric who you will be unable to take out the first part of the mission after you find out that it's him, and then you'll have to find out a way to get him taken care of. You have to flee from him, because you won't be able to take them out. So there's less exploration in this X module. It's more about sort of, city building and that sort of thing. It does a great job. It's also more of a sort of a whodunit plot, a detective mystery, and that sort of a thing too. It's also nice to do. So, but one of my issues I have here is that this can be a little bit of a railroad at times, right? It's got 5 pieces. You enter from the first one. You gotta go all the way through the first one, from point A to point B, and then from point B to point C, and then from point C to point B. You get the idea, right? It's very much a railroad, and that sort of thing. There's even NPCs. If you start to get off the railroad, they'll be pointing you back onto the railroad. And what party group, right, out there typically does that sort of thing, which it feels a little weird, right? And that sort of thing. So, and I have run this as a player and also played this as a dungeon master too. Just hits. Right. So therefore, because of the railroad, because of the descriptions and that sort of a thing too, and lack of a great exploration too, and the fact that the bad guy's curse is right on the title of the cover. This is Xanathon for you folks. It's a nice though. It's a nice detective short story and plot, and the details are great too. And it's nice. It's a nice version too, but after the Amazing 1 and 2 and 4 and 5, this feels a little lesser than it could have been. But Douglas Niles is an absolute classic guy, so don't worry about him. It'll be fun. All right, so but anyway, 6 out of 10 for you folks. Have you played the Curse of Xanathon? I'm sorry, Curse of Xanathon, not the Curse of Xanathon. Sorry about that. So have you played it? And if so, what did you think about it? Let me know what your thoughts are. Whether you played it already or Dungeon Master, or like myself, or both. Happy to engage you with it further, whatever your thoughts are, and that sort of thing. So happy to talk about that further. All right, just let me know what your thoughts are. On Wednesdays, I do reviews of older video games. I just finished out recently I did the entire spin-off 2 thought series, and then last week I did 2 Point Museum's recent DLC Fantasy Finds, which is funnily related to, because it's based on sort of a D&D explorations and fantasy stuff. So you can check it out. This week will be Star Wars' Biogenesis, and then next week I'm going to be doing my top 10 value video games, heading back before the release. And then I also do Let's Plays too of older things. We're heading down doing a Let's Plays of Star Control 2. And then in addition to that, I am doing things like, so then on Saturday, I do reviews of Serial Saturdays, and that sort of a thing too. I just did the Dick Tracy 4-part serials from movies and that sort of thing too. And then I just did Radar Patrol, surprisingly the good stuff. I just did it randomly. It's about 4 hours long from 37. Listening to exist of how all up and down the blocks. And then in addition to that, the other 3 times a week I do reviews of older video games that you, in this case, read. But in the older video games, older things you read, novels, short stories, novellas, short poems too, in the 3 genres, fantasy and science fiction and horror too, right? So if those 7 things a week sound like your cup of tea, well then great. Welcome to the channel and have a seat. I think you'll enjoy your time here quite a bit, right? Love it all up and down the blocks. And while you're here, if you would please do all of the YouTube stuff, like the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon, to be notified of this video, share, and all that stuff too. But basically share and watch us with the QAs of growing this channel for you folks. Alright, so there you go. Alright, and then as you can tell from all the 7 older things, it's the title and the passion of this name, and that sort of thing too, of reviewing these old things, and that sort of a thing too. It's even in the title. It's a quote by Jacques Joubert. It says that the worst thing about them was they get those from reading the old stuff, right? No, the new stuff's bad, right? It's not. But in our quest for the new, we have sometimes forgotten that these things are standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And so let's check out the giants. Also, I appreciate something more the more I go back and look at its influences too. Right? For example, in the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide, Gygax lists an appendix in all of his influences, where he got his idea as a reference list. So I like going back and checking those things out. I've done a bunch of those things for us, channel too. Alright, so there you go. If you made it all the way to the end, I just want to thank you so very, very much for just taking some time out of your day and investing it, right? Watching my videos. Because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives. And we're pulled in so many different directions too, right? So the fact you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. And I appreciate that so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an absolutely amazing day.